Podcast. News, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of the world-famous Wrestle Talk Podcast, right here on all your forms of social media and on WrestleTalkPodcast.com. As you can tell, it's Luke Roberts here behind the controls here this evening, the Night Owl, Big Sexy, Big Hoss. A lot of our crew are enjoying a well-needed night away from the boards, but you know what, ladies and gentlemen, that's all right, because we got a great hour, actually a great 2 hours of professional wrestling talk right here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Make sure to go ahead and add yourself to the background comments so we can go ahead and get you taken care of and ready to go on that. Also, as a reminder, make sure to hashtag Wrestle Talk Podcast and make it a point as well. Hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling. And again, as a reminder, please make sure to like and share the broadcast with all your friends, family, you name it. Make it a point to share all of your comments so we can make sure we include you here on the show tonight. And again, as a reminder, make sure hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling, hashtag Wrestle Talk Podcast to engage the host and other members of the Wrestle Talk Podcast family. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and introduce to you a man who's very well known with the Wrestle Talk Podcast community. I know he's been having some headaches as of late, but you know what? It's always an honor and a privilege to have him here on the show. So let's go ahead and bring him in to the show tonight, right here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. And that is the one, the only, the Alpha. Alpha, let me go ahead and bring you on in here. How are you doing? Hey, we have audio to boot. We're doing great. How are you doing, my friend?
I've been doing okay. Just been working, honestly. I haven't even had time for wrestling. It's been all over the joint. On a side note, though, one of my coworkers at work is a wrestling fan, and we're trying to work out a thing because he wants to go see Monday Night Raw, and he's like, "Well, what if I got you a ticket?" And I'm like, okay." So that's true. I mean, I'll let you guys know in the next couple of weeks if that's actually something we're going to be doing, but I'm excited nonetheless.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Alpha, it's great to have you here on the program. And again, we apologize if we have any hiccups here tonight. Like I said, it's one of those things where we're bringing the best in wrestling programming here to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. But you got to remember, it's a live broadcast. Sometimes technology things happen. But you know what? We're going to go with it. We got a lot of things to talk about. We've got AEW stuff to talk about. I know you're going to talk about some New Japan stuff later on here.
Oh, my God.
I know one of the big things that was brought up lately was the idea of Mercedes Moné suffering an injury.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah, they're talking about the NJPW Strong Women's Championship, which I believe was you're going to give us a little more about that later on in the program, I do believe. There were 4, I guess, semifinalists, and they were going to eventually crown a new NJPW Strong Women's Champion as well. We've also got AEW, we've got WWE, we've got Ring of Honor. We got a little bit we can talk about, and we've got a lot of stuff coming up in hour number 2 about the Night of Champions event this weekend.
Yes.
It's going to be a great opportunity to talk pro wrestling. But before we get too much farther along here, as we take care of things here on the program, we're going to go ahead here and we're going to take care of talking about all of our great sponsors, because without our sponsors, they do this show does not make it each and every week here. So bear with me just a moment here. We're making sure that we can get all of our stuff taken care of right here on the program. Again, hashtag WTP, hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling. And before we get too much farther along, Alpha, since you got all your microphone and all your things taken care of here, I'm going to go ahead and bring them up. Why don't you go ahead and thank our great sponsors who help us bring this program to the show each and every week?
I would be happy to. Wrestle Talk Podcast would like to thank all our great sponsors, including Royal Mills Transportation, headed by Dewan Mills, Mr. CEO of the FWWC, Rathbun Engraving, that's where you can get your Wrestle Talk Podcast mug for $20, Nobleman's Barber Lounge in Kansas City, Missouri, Kincaid Arcade at Oak Park Mall, and Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Popeye Designs, it's where you can pick up your Wrestle Talk Podcast tumbler, and FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group.
Well, you know something, Alpha. I know that you're a huge fan of the FWWC, as is many of the viewers of the Wrestle Talk podcast. But I got to tell you right now, I know there's a lot of things that are popping up in the world of the FWWC, and I've been informed that we have to keep our commentary down to a minimum tonight as it relates to certain matters. But when it comes down to it, we got a lot of other stuff to take care of here. Before we get too much farther along, and I'm going to tell you right now, we've got a lot of people who have been asking us, Luke, is there any way we could go back to the days of old? The idea if we could go back and have that wonderful gentleman named Carl Lewis come back onto our program and present our national anthem. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, we had a discussion, and Alpha and I were outvoted. So at this point in time, we're going to go ahead here in just a few moments and get things started here for tonight's program. So at this time, if you would please take off your hats, remove your hats, place your hand over your heart as we pay homage to the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Roseanne bringing us in with the national anthem this week, a staple of the Wrestle Talk podcast. We also want to give a shout out to all of our great first responders and the men and women defending our country each and every week here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Another group of people without whom the Wrestle Talk podcast would not exist on a weekly basis. And as a matter of fact, I just had one brought up here, and I'm going to bring it up right here on the board. Aaron Wallace, thank you for joining us. And again, every time I think about this, I think about Joe Lance, and I think about a lot of people who have a disagreement with the rendition of the national anthem. But you know what? Roseanne brings us in each and every week. And just want to bring you a little bit of up-to-date here, a little bit of breaking news. We're not going to hit the sounder. We're trying to keep tabs on NXT. And it was just made Lyra Valkyra has moved on to the finals of the NXT Women's Championship Tournament, defeating Cora Jade, and it looks like that Cora Jade has some exception to that. One's only going to see what's going to happen here. I believe the other match is Roxanne Perez taking on Tiffany Stratton later on this evening. So, Alpha, I got to ask you a question, my friend.
What's up? You
are our East Coast representative. You travel all around the great sunshine. I wish I could talk today. The great Sunshine State, and I gotta ask you a question. I'm gonna be telling you, I'm kind of letting some fans know here. Luke Roberts is gonna be in the great state of Florida in the weeks to come, and I'm gonna make it a point that I want to be there in about 15 seconds for all those great fans that listen to our program here in Florida and in the Southeast. What is a huge incentive to drive me to come to the Southeast? What should I look forward to when I'm coming to the Southeast later on in the summer?
This is going to sound really weird, but as a Florida native, it's the rain itself. It's very relaxing when you get used to it because it rolls in so often. You just need to see a little bit of cloud coverage and then it comes in. But if anything, the beaches. If you're going to see anything in Florida, you got to check out the beaches we got there. It doesn't matter if it's Cocoa. It doesn't matter if it's Clearwater. Find a beach. Go there, enjoy yourself. That's why you come to Florida.
All right. Like I said, you heard it from the Alpha himself. Again, that's going to be one of the things we're going to be looking at over the course of the summer. Luke Roberts touring the great country of the United States of America, being in a lot of different places. Who knows? I might be in your town. I might be in your community over the course of the summer. We're going to keep you up to date. Wrestle Talk Podcast on all forms of social media and WrestleTalkPodcast.com. You know something, Alpha? We got a lot to talk about in the world of pro wrestling, but the only way we're going to get this started off tonight and get it started off in the right way is with our good friend, the lyrical maestro himself, and not Jeremy Cart, by the way. I want to give a shout out to the maestro. He said he may be able to join us later on this evening when we talk about Night of Champions. But we're talking about the maestro known as DJ Money. So let's go ahead. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and bring up the High Spot segment tonight with our introduction from the one, the only DJ Money.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah! All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like clear chops. We dog shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like a runner speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a clock blast, look like a belly flop. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
Love that intro. And I like that one of the lyrics is a backdrop. Severely underrated move.
Most definitely. And like I said, I got something else to tell you, Alpha. Since the last time we've been on the program, I had an opportunity to talk to the maestro.
Oh,
and
really?
I think I have figured out what he did to the randomizer. Now, I know a lot of our viewers have seen this whole situation with the randomizer. He put it on a timer.
Oh.
Didn't know he did it, but he put it on a timer. And the end result was that when the timer wasn't doing what it needed to do, he thought that was going to be the way to fix it. So I think I've sat down, I've made everything work the way it needs to work, and we're going to go ahead, and I'm hoping, as we get into High Spots here this evening, I hope we can make it a point that the randomizer will work. So let's go ahead, now that we've gotten the intro taken care of, let's bring up the randomizer, and we'll bring up the first question right here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Here we go. All right, give me just a second here, and we'll have the randomizer bring up question number 1. And this one's been a hot button topic here, especially last night. Given the series of attacks on Cody Rhodes last evening, does he stand a chance against Brock Lesnar on the PPV? Alpha, I know that you have a pretty big mindset on this, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this to you as we talk about Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar this weekend at Night of Champions.
I really don't know, only because I don't know how you can continue this feud if Brock doesn't get his leverage back. Because the whole point is that Cody beat him at Backlash, but now he's more pissed off than anything because he poked the bear. So I don't know how you book this in a way to where Brock comes out without completely murdering Cody and making him look like a chump. So as far as standing a chance, I don't think so. But, I mean, what are your thoughts, Luke?
Well, I had a completely different thought. And I'm going to take this completely right field. I know tonight's episode is championship gold, but this should be Luke Roberts goes to right field. Because this is going to be some really outside the box thinking tonight. I was thinking that Cody Rhodes doesn't make it to Night of Champions. But I see something else. And that is I see the opportunity at one point for Mustafa Ali to get the chance in the spotlight. Now, granted, I did forget that he is in a championship match this coming weekend. But the idea of that little bit of interaction that Mustafa Ali and Brock Lesnar had. And basically, he just completely cast Mustafa Ali to the side. Would it have made a huge impact if Cody caused Brock Lesnar to lose to Mustafa Ali?
The only thing I see with that is how badly that might affect Brock's stock as a result. Because I don't know if he's trying to take that kind of L.
I don't think it ruins his stock in any way. And hear me out. Brock Lesnar versus Mustafa Ali, we know the story. But if you have the opportunity to have Brock Lesnar not lose fairly to Mustafa Ali, let Cody Rhodes intervene in some way or another. I think it gives you an opportunity because I'm one of those, I'm a power of positivity guy. I'm a guy who's really digging this Mustafa Ali spin on things as of late. And I think it's one of those where it could have made a huge impact from it. I don't necessarily not see that happening in the future. I think it's one of those where as long as Brock Lesnar does not get a clean L in the loss column, I think it could benefit all parties and bring this farther along. But it's one of those things where when it comes down to it, I think that it could have helped. But again, we're going to see Mustafa Ali versus Gunther and Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar this coming weekend at Night of Champions. And just to let you know, I got a message from Big Sexy. I have to put this up here already. The Luke Roberts, not so much of a rant meter. I've already got one. I wonder how long this is going to go all night. But right now we're at 1. Alpha, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to move on. And I think this next couple of questions are going to be ones that you may not necessarily be super familiar with, but I think they've been things that are a lot on the wrestling table as of late. So let's go ahead real quick, hit the randomizer again. And our next question is, many pro wrestling fans have heard of Richard Holliday's battle with cancer and his MLW departure. He will be returning to in-ring competition for GCW in early July. Is this a wise move? I'm going to tell you right now, Alpha, I don't think that this is a good move for him. I think Richard Holliday has all of the potential to be, and I'll tell you right now, he could be an AEW guy. He could be a WWE guy. I think he has all the potential in the world. And this is one, again, we may have to update the rant meter. If you're familiar, and I'm just going to throw this at you, Alpha, let's see if you know your wrestling knowledge. In MLW, there was an organization called the Dynasty. Do you know who the three individuals were in the Dynasty?
I can't say that I do, Skywalker.
Well, using my vast knowledge of wrestling knowledge, it was Alexander Hammerstone, Richard Holliday, and MJF. Now, if you look at it, MJF, sorry, and Assad, yes, thank you for correcting me. I stumble over my words. I apologize.
You're getting it confused with the musical.
Might be. But when it comes down to it, you look at it from a perspective, Hammerstone is the MLW champion. MJF is the AEW world champion. Everybody's heard of the bidding war of 2024. But when it comes down to it, wouldn't it be a complete train wreck if Richard Holliday was able to compete at that level and get to WWE before MJF? Could you imagine what that would be like if you could have the fans be able to see Richard Holliday and MJF potentially either WWE or AEW, seeing both of those men go against each other? That would be, to me, that would be the cash match of the whole situation. And also, real quick here, going to give a shout out to the Night Owl who's joining us this evening. We're also going to give a shout out here. Josh Elliott talking in the words of Sonny Money. I've got a lot of great things here going on. I'm going to throw this to you here, Alpha. What are your thoughts about the idea of Richard Holiday going to GCW?
See, I don't want to say that GCW is a downgrade in any way, because a lot of notable people have appeared in GCW programming or pay-per-views or just shows. So I'm sure the decision was intentional on Richard's end. However, is there a market for a storyline, whether he goes to WWE and they know how to program him correctly, or in AEW and running the program with MJF? I can't say for sure. I think that would be the best thing to do. Personally, I think it'd be cool to see. I definitely have to look this guy up after the fact now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I definitely want to keep an eye on him as far as that show goes and see how much of a reaction he can get, and then see if MJF's interested in running a program in the future.
Well, I can tell you right now, I think it's one of those, when you sit down and you look at it, it makes all the sense in the world. I mean, Richard Holiday is a great in-ring competitor, and many people felt that his cancer was going to be something, unfortunately, that would take him. And looking here at some of the comments here, please make sure that you log in as well so we can get your picture here as well. I'm going to tell you right now, I think if Richard Holiday is 100%, he's ready to go. I agree with you. I don't think GCW is the place that he needs to be. But if it's going to be something that's going to get his name back out there, and I'm going to tell you right now, it strikes me a lot like Matt Cardona. NWA World Champion, you see him in Impact, you see him in Game Changer Wrestling, and now Matt Cardona is one of the hotter names on the independent scene right now.
Love Matt Cardona.
Could it be the same thing for a Richard Holiday? And I want to go back in here real quick, and I want to bring up another comment here. And again, please keep sharing these comments, guys. We very much appreciate them.
I think the side's onto something with that. I could definitely see it.
You know what? I'm going to tell you right now, and this is one that's going to probably get the rant meter going again. I think that if he's at 100%, just because of his mouth, I could see him making the jump all the way to the main roster from the beginning.
Now, if he did, though, do you think there's anything for him to do at this point in time? Because haven't we had a couple of call-ups in the past couple of days? Not to say that I don't think he could hang in the roster. I'm just saying, do you think there would be anything for him to do if he did?
I think it's one of those where, when it comes down to it, I look at it from a perspective of this. Have MJF make his appearance. And again, I go back to what Assad was saying here. Have MJF make his appearance. And much like Chris Jericho, have him appear. Have him basically be the thorn in MJF's side from day one. And that would be a huge, huge way to get him involved. I agree with Assad. And just to let you know, as we've got it up here, we're back up to 2 on the Rantometer. Now, again, we want to make a reminder, too. Make sure to keep sharing the show. Make sure to keep posting those comments. We're trying to get everybody here on the program tonight so that everything is good to go. Let's go ahead and hit up the randomizer again. And we're going to have another High Spots question here. Thus far, we're 2 for 2. Let's see if the technology is going to cooperate. The Maestro is kind of away for the night. Let's see if it works again tonight. All right, the new question. In an interview with WWE CEO Nick Khan, he made many statements. One of them was the possibility of SmackDown going to 3 hours. Alpha, I'm going to give you your thought or your moment to talk here, because this, I think there's going to be several rants going on here.
No, just everybody as of now that I know of has trouble watching Raw's 3rd hour. So making SmackDown also a 3-hour show on top of the few, WWE fans who are dedicated enough to watch their other content like NXT, adding another hour of programming, specifically after doing what's going on with the WWE draft right now, I don't think is a good idea. If they want to, sure, but you're going to have a lot more time to kill. And I still think that despite the fact that they have 5 hours to fill on a weekly basis, they still don't have enough stuff happening to keep it interesting.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Alpha. Again, this is the night of the Luke Roberts rant. Why? I really feel Raw could very much go back to 2 hours.
Yes.
Raw is considered the flagship show, and I get it. But NXT, how long is NXT? 2 hours. How long is SmackDown? 2 hours. Fans, like you said, are getting fed up with 3 hours. I mean, again, what did we see last night? I think at one point we had Brock Lesnar beating up Cody Rhodes. Then we had another interview. I think it was with Apollo Crews and Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. And then I think we went to a video package. I'm like, come on, guys. Give us what we want. And that's in-ring competition.
Or just storylines that go somewhere. Like, it's not hard to fill up a show.
It's called professional wrestling on the marquee for a reason. Give us wrestling. Let's talk more wrestling. That's what we talk about here on the Wrestle Talk podcast.
That's what we want to see.
Let's talk more wrestling topics, more content, more great interviews. That's why the Wrestle Talk podcast is the greatest podcast in the whole universe. And just to let you know, we're now up to 3. We're going to keep this going.
I'd argue that was much. I think that was much of a rant. I don't know if you can count that one.
So wait a minute. You're telling me now I got to put this at 2.5? I'm going to keep on going because you're now telling me I can only get half a rant? What's next?
Well, I think this one evens it out. So we're fine.
Okay, that's good enough. So like I said, right now, when it comes down to it, another thing they brought up here too, we're not going to put a high spots question up here, but it's another one that they were brought up too. They were actually making the comment that it's not out of the realm for SmackDown to move from Friday nights. It's not out of the realm for Raw to move from Monday nights.
Again. Oh, God.
I'm going to tell you right now, my view is this. And Alpha, you may have a completely different point of view on this than I do. Here's my thought. SmackDown has been moved.
It has.
They've been on Tuesday, they've been on Thursday, they've been on Friday. We get that. Change is good, especially considering SmackDown, honestly, in the eyes of many people, is the A show. But you don't need to change Monday Night Raw. If you're going to change Monday Night Raw, take it back to 2 hours. Take it back to the way it was before. Don't move Monday Night Raw. That is your flagship program. And if you're going to make it a point, that's the one you don't move. And I got to tell you right now, I almost got to say you don't move NXT. If you're going to move anything, you move SmackDown, because I'll tell you right now, if they move anything regarding Raw or NXT, you're going to lose more in the PLE, the premium live events. You're going to lose more money. And that's not what the WWE needs right now. They need to have the best product forward, because I'm going to tell you right now, places like AEW, like New Japan, those companies are nipping at the heels of the WWE. Granted, they're not getting as many viewers, but the fans are getting more for their entertainment dollar.
And that's the ultimate key here, is that as much as everybody wants to deny that, WWE is at the pinnacle right now. Yeah, but if they keep making little mistakes, it's going to add up. It's like wrestling fans are going to get impatient. They're going to try new things. And I don't want that to happen. And I agree with everything you just said about that. It's Monday Night Raw. We know it for Monday nights. Do not move it. If you're going to change anything, get rid of the last hour, because we're all falling asleep and we're trying to go to bed early, right? But if you move it, it doesn't, like, just to make a point out of this. Does Tuesday Night Raw sound as right? No, it doesn't. Wednesday Night Raw, don't even sound even close. Thursday Night Raw? No. Friday Night Raw? Why is it Raw? SmackDown is Friday. There it is. See, inherent issue before you even have to make the show change.
Very true. Very, very true, Alpha. And I'm going to tell you right now, while we're at it, let's go ahead and go to the next question. I know one of the next ones that's coming up here. Hopefully, my question that I thought about was going to be the one that's going to come up next year. And the next question, we heard earlier on, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez basically being told that they're going to have to win the championships back without Liv Morgan out with a shoulder injury. Is Shotzi a suitable replacement for Liv Morgan?
I guess I'll start. Oh, thank you. Well, I need to ask just because I haven't been keeping up with Raw and SmackDown. Is Shotzi doing anything? Like, she's not in Toxic Attraction anymore, right? Is that the group she's
Shotzi was never in Toxic Attraction.
Sorry,
that's Gigi Dolan
with NXT.
Casey Jane.
Shame. I know. I'll walk around with the bell. No, but okay, then if she's not with anybody, then yeah, you might as well stick her on there. Give her something because she is a tag expert from what I remember.
True.
So I mean, she does have, and I mean, Raquel needs somebody, and Shotzi's not doing anything because we already know the world title scene of whatever they're doing with Rhea and Bianca. So at least gives her something to do and gives Raquel I don't know. I don't know how to feel about where they're going to do after Liv comes back. Like, do they make a storyline out of them being tag team partners? Do they Freebird rule it? Like, I don't know. But Shotzi fits. But your thoughts, Luke? I'm just kind of talking.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm really of a mindset that this poses interest to me. And here's why. This is going to sound strange. I think the way this is set up, and again, this may be another one for the rant meter. I'm just going to warn you now. To me, I don't see Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez holding the championships for long, if all. And here's what it is. I see them winning the championships because Shotzi is a former NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. So, I mean, again, her winning the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship would not be a bad thing. But the next team I see winning it, and hear me out, is Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green.
Okay.
And the reason why...
How do you book it?
No, here's how it is. It gives you the opportunity to put Raquel on her own. And it gives you an opportunity to have a feud with two of the hardest working women on the WWE roster, Liv Morgan, who many people have said probably in the last 18 months is one of the most improved wrestlers in all of the WWE, and Shotzi Blackheart, or Shotzi, sorry. I don't want to make sure that I go back to the name in the past. But when it comes down to it, you put those two together, and I'm just going to throw this to you, Alpha. Do you think that Shotzi versus Liv Morgan is a match that's going to interest people when it comes to the WWE?
Yes. And I think the only thing it needs is a no DQ stipulation. If you let these two have a car wreck of a match where they really get to just throw each other into danger, you can have something really special, especially because you hit the nail on the head, Luke. They are two of the best workhorses as far as the women's division is concerned, especially in the roster right now. And I think we need that specifically so that we can have some workhorses to alternate between, because now we have two women's titles we have to worry about. So I think it could be something special.
Well, right now, I mean, again, I think it's going to be something that the fans are going to be interested in, but these ladies are going to have to go out there and give it 100%. If they don't give it 100%, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think it's going to be a huge issue. It's got to be, they have to deliver. Now, at this point, again, we just want to go ahead and give a friendly reminder as well. If you're enjoying the Wrestle Talk podcast, make it a point to go ahead and share us throughout all of the world of social media. Use those hashtags, Let's Talk Wrestling, hashtag WTP. We got lots of comments here on the line as well. And oh, no. The only person that could ruin my night, ruin the Luke Roberts rant meter, has joined us. And he's been running up a storm. Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Champion, the Snitch, has taken to social media here, going on talking about SmackDown. Needs someone incredible to give them great content, like me. Come on, man. I'm already fed up with the Snitch. I know Rodell is fed up with the Snitch. And then he has the audacity to come on a few minutes later. She can be a Super Bowl. Hey, this was not that bad. She can be a suitable replacement. She's super talented and charismatic. If they give her runway, she can do it. Maybe I can actually get along with the Snitch for once.
All is right in the world when that happens.
I don't know if we're going to go that far there, Alpha. I really don't know if we're going to go that far. But let's go ahead and tune real quick here. Got a shout out for you while we're at it from our good friend Jared joining us.
Hey, always glad you're watching the show, buddy.
And also to go back here a little bit on, didn't get a chance to mention it earlier, but our good friends over at Outside the Ring STL are also checking in with us this evening here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. You know, we are all around the world, whether it's St. Louis, it's Florida, it's Seattle, you name it. The Wrestle Talk podcast is in high demand, and it's all because of our great viewers. It's all because of the people who support the Wrestle Talk podcast each and every week. Now, Alpha, I'm going to tell you right now, we've got one more question for the High Spot segment. And I know this is going to make your day. It's going to make you so excited that you are going to be standing up and doing this. Or it's going to make you do this. So
I think you're giving my vocal cords too much credit.
Well, right now, as I said, it's going to be one of those two. And I know that the viewers are going to be very interested in this question. So let's go ahead, hit the randomizer one more time for our final question of the High Spot segment here tonight on the Wrestle Talk podcast. All right. And we managed to make it all the way through High Spots, and the randomizer worked. I told you that the Maestro did something to it, and I think we fixed it for the time being. And here you go. Are you happy that the Elite is back together in AEW? Alpha, I know that you're going to be one way or the other on this, so I'm just going to give this to you.
I will be the one to say it on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I don't care who disagrees with me, and I am okay with people who agree with me. But yes, I am happy the Elite is back together because this is long-term storytelling, because I guarantee you I was not the only one who forgot how long ago it was that they broke up in the first place and how long it took these guys to break up in the first place anyways. So yes, I'm happy they're back together because yes, the Elite versus the Blackpool Combat Club is going to be the shit, and I am excited for it. And you can all just at me if you have hate because I do not care. I love it. Luke, your thoughts though?
Well, you know something? I'm going to level with you. And this isn't a rant. This is true statement. I am a fan of professional wrestling. I've been a fan of professional wrestling for as long as I can remember. And I'm going to tell you right now, I thought this afternoon when my wife was getting ready to go to work and I was in my wonderful office here in the Luke Roberts estate, and I was listening to Being the Elite and them having the opportunity to make Wendy's and Chili's relevant, and hearing the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page singing the Chili's jingle, I was about to lose my mind. It was brilliant. It was comedic genius. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and the Blackpool Combat Club, yes, I think that has been very well told. I think it's very well done. But the idea of where you're going to bring all four of those in, and I'm going to tell you right now, you have Jon Moxley, who simply put is the Iron Man of AEW. He can go out there with anybody for any amount of time, put himself on the line, and have absolutely no problem with it. You got Claudio Castagnoli, a man who simply put is nothing short of awesome. Then you've got a man in Bryan Danielson who is really, really getting me excited because you're starting to see a lot of the old American Dragon, the old ROH American Dragon. And Wheeler Yuta has delivered. You put him with that many great talents, you got to deliver or you're going to be gone. And he's delivered. And it only makes sense here that you put Hangman Page back with them. I'm going to tell you right now, that to close the show was absolutely beautiful. Now, real quick here, I'm going to go ahead. I was just made aware we do have one more question. And I'm going to share this with you in just a minute. But I want to ask you, what are your thoughts about the Blackpool Combat Club? I want you to take a minute, much like I just did. Look at the Blackpool Combat Club and tell me what you think they've brought to the table in AEW.
I definitely think they've brought a stable that can be reliable. But more so, I think they've brought the thing that's going to keep AEW interesting for the next couple of years because it really seems like they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And heaven forbid anything happens financially. But that's only because we are having a complete inverse for the Blackpool Combat Club because we've seen them as faces. Now we're seeing them as heels. And I think as a group of faces, they were good to really get people's attention as far as wrestling. But I think as a group of heels, specifically roughshod heels, 3 former WWE guys that we know can go the absolute limit in Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli, we have the potential to make some very interesting stars in some very interesting upsets because we know that these guys have the potential as really good wrestlers, but there's some big names for some potentials because we've already gotten stuff like Bryan Danielson losing to, oh my God, what's his name? Daniel Garcia? Is that what it was? Mm-hmm. Yes. And we still have Claudio Castagnoli versus Eddie Kingston in, our back pocket. I'm not saying he's a rookie that needs like a name, but he's a wrestler that could definitely go for a title win for that. So I'm just saying, I think there's a lot of untapped potential here that we're going to get fully exposed after this match with the Elite goes over because I'm very curious. But Luke, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, before I go back into talking about Anarchy in the Arena, our chat has been blowing up here, and I just want to go ahead and let the viewers see this commentary here. The Snitch taking an opportunity, take another shot at me, which is kind of a standard for the Snitch, to go ahead and poke jabs at a media guy. And then I got to give a shout out. Our guy, Aaron Wallace, helping me out here, backing us up here on the program. Dedicated fans of the program. And the Snitch calling it out. It makes him happy. I got to tell you right now, the chat is on fire. The commentary is on fire. And I'm going to tell you right now, Anarchy in the Arena, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be one of those types of matches that when things happen, it's going to be a huge, huge, huge deal. And I'm going to tell you, I am looking forward to it. And again, the one thing that was kind of totally left out of the picture, and I know that we talked about this a few days ago, is the idea of Don Callis. Where does Don Callis fit in the whole picture? When all this fighting takes place, Don skedaddles. He's the first man out of the picture. I think there's still going to be some more to that before we get too much farther along. Now, at this point, Alpha, we've been talking on the high spot segment here for a while. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to a spot we haven't had in a while here. And that is, of course, the shoot and shout segment. And I'm going to tell you right now, we actually have had, and I'm not going to share it because they have requested anonymity. That's a hard word for me to say. They've requested anonymity. But before we get too much farther along, let's go ahead and put together the shoot and shout segment here, right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast.
It's just one of those days when you don't want to wake up. Everything is fun, everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet's to stay away, motherfucker. It's just one of those days. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. I think you better quit letting...
All right. Before we get going, I think this is going to be a first for the Wrestle Talk podcast. I truly think this is going to be a first. And I got this as a message. And I want to go ahead, bear with me just a minute here. I got to find where we put it. And of course now the one thing I need, and now we're not going to find it. Where is it? Where did the comment go? You know what we're going to do here? Tell you what, Alpha, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you get started because I got to find this. This is one of those where this was a huge one.
Okay. Well, then I'll try to cover as much time as I can until you get the opportunity. So I'm going to just say this on behalf of all wrestling fans, just because it is 2023 and non-wrestling fans have to give wrestling fans the side eye because we can't just grow up and let people like the shit that they like to watch. So I'm going to just say this for everybody. We know the show is scripted. I cannot stand people who will look at you the moment you say you like to watch pro wrestling and they just look you in the eye and go, you know it's fake, right? It's like, dude, call me crazy. But you know that film where Robert Downey Jr., you know he didn't actually build a suit with an arc reactor to keep his heart alive, right? We're in on it, guys. We know. We're not stupid, okay? So please stop acting like we're stupid. We know it. We watch wrestling, okay? We know it's scripted. This is not new. All right. Any luck? I can rant about something else.
Well, I'm actually going to go ahead here real quick, and this is actually going to be a first for us because we actually had someone, and again, requesting anonymity, that put this out here just for the shoot and shout segment.
Wait, what?
I actually did the research. This is an actual story on TMZ Sports from Goldberg's agent.
What?
Talking about how he accidentally headbutted a tractor.
I just found the image of it. He's all bloody.
And he busted his head open on a tractor.
Good Lord.
We had a lot of great news here in the shoot and shout segment. We had a lot of great news in the high spot segment. And now this comes across the news wire. I got to tell you right now, when it comes down to it, this is I'm just going to put it this way. Oh, man. I got everything great with the audio, and then all of a sudden, it just doesn't want to do what we need it to do. But that's okay, because now I have even another one that I can go out there. And when it comes down to it, I just look at it from the point of view of, oh my word, what is going to happen now? But anyway, I digress. First of all, I've actually got a couple. Number one is the idea where I want to give a shout out to the Beer City Bruiser. I've heard through multiple media outlets that he is looking at a major surgery. They're talking about a hip replacement. I've always enjoyed the Bruiser's work, even back in the old days when he was in WLW here in the St. Louis area. Great in-ring competitor. Best of wishes. Also want to give a shout out to all of our broadcast colleagues who are not with us this evening. We're looking forward to hopefully hearing from Big Daddy P here in a few. Also, as a reminder, make it a point to give a shout out on Thursday nights, the FWWC Tonight. You can check it out on all the great social media outlets. Now then, that I've got this all taken care of, I've got an opportunity to rant. And this one is simple. And a lot of people are going to give me headache for this. I already know this right now. I had an opportunity this past weekend to go out and celebrate my birthday. And it was a great experience. It was a great 4 days of celebrating my birthday. Had an opportunity to show a good friend of mine, that being the one and only the Night Owl, Renee Martinez, my hometown. Had a great time. I had a great meal. I got to talk, got to look at things for the future of the Wrestle Talk podcast. Saturday, I got to go out to a great dinner with family friends, with my wife, my good friend, longtime personal friend, Patrick Brandmeier. A great dinner. Had an opportunity to see my best friend's son graduate high school this past Sunday. And all of those things were wonderful. And I'm going to tell you right now, Friday was wonderful. I had a friend of mine, a couple good friends of mine, who were able to get us some free baseball tickets to go see that team. It's not the Chicago Cubs. I'm talking about the St. Louis Cardinals. And I'll tell you this, food was great. Never would have imagined being able to get some of the food items I did at Busch Stadium. But here it is, real simple. Why didn't they bring in the pitch clock sooner? It was one of those things where I was just amazed at how much more fluid baseball was. It was a great experience, and people were complaining, oh, well, it's not going to speed up the game. It's going to ruin baseball. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. It kept baseball at a realistic time. We don't get 19-hour baseball games. I think the total game lasted us a little more than 3 hours. And it was a great time, a great opportunity, but keep the pitch clock. While we're at it, that means first hour total for Luke Roberts is 5. So now, at this point, we're going to go ahead here real quick, and we're going to be talking all things Night of Champions here in just a little bit. But before we do, we want to go ahead real quick, and we want to go ahead and remind everybody that's a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast family to make sure that you share our broadcast to all your friends, all your family. Make sure you share that information out. And also, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to make it a point to share that information, make it a point to use the hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling and hashtag WTP. A lot of great information can be shared, and we can get the Wrestle Talk podcast out to so many more viewers each and every week. But you know something? Alpha, you did such a great job in the first hour. We're going to go ahead and let you talk about our great sponsors. So give me just a second here. I want to go ahead and make sure to make you feel a little more official. I'm going to go ahead real quick here and give you a little bit of lead in before you talk about our sponsors.
All right.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
I thought you would like that. So Lord Edward Hayes bringing us back in here. Let's go ahead real quick and, well, maybe.
All right.
There you
Wrestle Talk Podcast would like to thank our great sponsors, Royal Mills Transportation, headed by Dewan Mills, Mr. CEO. We have Rathbun Engraving, the Wrestle Talk Podcast mugs for just $20 you can find there. We have Nobleman's Barber Lounge in Kansas City, Missouri. Kincaid Arcade at Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Popeye Design. That's where you can get your Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler. And, of course, the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. Man, I love saying that.
You know
I
something
know I
else?
said that twice now, but
We're going to go ahead here in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and I want to see, again, technology is great when it cooperates. Hold on one second here. I want to share something with the viewers of the program. Bear with me just a minute. It's not going to let me share it that way, but that's okay. Let's go ahead here, and I'm going to see. Okay, it's not going to let me bring that out here, but that's okay. Because right now, we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to see. You talked earlier on about some of those great items that you can purchase here, and I want to go ahead and bring those back up. First one I want to show you here, and actually, let me see here if I can go ahead and bring that up just as the whole screen, and that's not going to cooperate for us either. But now it is, because we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this back up here. Maybe, oh no, that's not going to do it either. And again, we're going to go ahead and take care of things here on the program. Technology is great when it cooperates for us, but that's all right. Like I said, make it a point to check out those Wrestle Talk podcast mugs that you can get from Rathbun Engraving. I mean, they're great. Got a message here earlier on this evening from the wonderful Nightmare Jones, Joe Lance, talking about how it's officially made his beverage 21.4% colder. And you can also get a Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler from the great folks over at Little Popeye Designs. I got to tell you, I have mine. And unfortunately, I would show it tonight, but it's a little thing called It's in the Dishwasher.
bad time.
Yeah, bad time to have it in the dishwasher. But, you know, when it comes down to it, both of them are great items. And if you want to purchase one, make it a point to check those out, WrestleTalkPodcast.com, and also our social media outlets. And right now, real quick here, we got a couple of more things here. Again, shout out again to Aaron Wallace having his rant for the night. Umpires have always been cheating in every ball game. That's why they should retire and leave Major League Baseball for life. Don't know if that'll work, because you don't have officials. You don't have things along those lines. And I mean, again, you got to take care of what's there. And I'm going to level with you right now. And this is not necessarily a rant, but I want to throw this out here. We're always trying to keep on top of things here at the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Right now, I'm noticing here, and it's going to be something I'm definitely going to have to watch back. I'm not mistaken, it's Nathan Frazier taking on Noam Dar. I believe it's for the Heritage Championship, the Heritage Cup. I'll have to go back and look at it, but it's a great matchup. And again, if you get an opportunity once you're done watching the Wrestle Talk podcast here on all your great social media outlets, make it a point. Check out NXT. Also check out AEW tomorrow night, and check out SmackDown on Friday as we lead into Night of Champions, which we're going to be talking about here in just a few moments. Alpha, before we go on, is there any more news that we need to throw in here before we start talking Night of Champions?
I don't think anything's going to top Goldberg headbutting a tractor. So I think we might want to just lead into this.
Well, you know, I have to tell you. I have to tell you right now. I think there is one thing, and this is going to be crazy, but I think it'll let us go. I think the only thing that could top that, I think we could have had that when we put it up there, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to throw it up here one more time, just because of the fact that people want to see this question and how things are there. But you know something? I think the only thing that would make it better and make sure that we get things taken care of would be if we played this for our good friend, the Maestro, Jeremy Carp. I figured that would make the Maestro's day. I really did.
I think that made his lifetime.
That is true. That is true. So, well, you know, I mean, again, it's been a great first hour. And again, make sure to share hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling, hashtag WTP. You know, we're going to look at something else here. We're going to take a little more time here in hour number 2. to look at the world of Night of Champions. I mean, again, right now we still have SmackDown on Friday, and it's going to be an opportunity to see what all is going on here. But we do have an event coming up this weekend, Night of Champions, and a lot of things are going to take place this weekend. I was looking back and doing the research, and I got to tell you, this event has all of the potential in the world to deliver even more than what Backlash did. To me, I think that a lot of Backlash was just kind of, maybe as the Night Owl would say, maybe 3 super kicks, and that's being generous. But I think that Night of Champions has the opportunity to deliver what Backlash could. And again, I'm not going to take anything away. I think Rhea Ripley and
Zelina Vega.
Zelina Vega was a great matchup. I believe that the tag team matchup was great. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest was great. Seeing Carlito, seeing Savio Vega, both of those I think were great. But Alpha, before we start kind of diving into Night of Champions, I got to ask you, what do you think going into, we're just going to look at it as a blanket statement as it relates to Night of Champions this coming weekend?
What do I just think of it as a whole?
Overall.
Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you on life like that. I was just curious. I got confused by the question. I don't know. I definitely agree with you that it has potential to be something good, but it is very under the radar, if that makes sense, because we're getting the repeat match with Lesnar and Cody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're getting the crowning of the new champion, which is very interesting because it's going to be AJ or Seth, and I'm sure some people care about that. That's fine. But we also have the tag situation, which unless the Usos are the ones to interrupt Roman and Sikoa, I don't know how Sammy and KO are going to win that match. Maybe I just need to hold out hope. I don't know. But as far as the rest of the card is, it's just kind of, I don't know. It just like lacks that effort, I guess. I mean, I'm sure the work rate will be fine, but as far as my actual interest, I'm kind of, like I said, it's under the radar for me. It's not enough for me to be like, oh yeah, Night of Champions.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now here, and I think we're going to agree to disagree here in the idea of where, and I was doing the research, there are 5 championship matches on the bill. And we're going to go ahead real quick, and I know a lot of people are going to give us flack because we're making this the first of our discussion topics of the night. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Alpha, I know you were very animated earlier on. What are your thoughts on this matchup this coming weekend?
I think if anybody can make the match happen, it is Cody and Brock. I may not know what direction they have planned. I may not really know where this is going to fall in place. I don't know who's going to win because, like I said, I'm kind of torn on it. But despite all of the shortcomings that I seem to be thinking of, I think if anybody can turn chicken shit into chicken salad, it's Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. And that's all I want. That's the other thing, is that I don't want this match to fail. I may not know what to expect. It may seem like it might be a train wreck, but far from it for me to want that from a match. I want this to be something good. I want this to at least potentially build up to something. And I don't know. I guess I want a reason to go check it out. So I want them to not let me down. But as far as the match goes, what do you think, Luke? I mean,
well, I got to tell you right now, Alpha, when I look at this matchup, I'm sorry to say, with everything that's there, to me, I look at it from the perspective of you are going to definitely put a mark on the reputation of Brock Lesnar. if he loses this weekend. It's that simple. Nobody should take the kind of assault that Cody Rhodes took this past couple weeks and be able to survive. Brock Lesnar is going to get his payback, and I think it's simple. Brock Lesnar is going to destroy Cody Rhodes this weekend. There's no real way around that. Now, here's the other one that's going to give a lot of people some flack. The only other champion or non-championship matchup on the whole show, and it is a bombshell. Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. I'm going to tell you right now, to me, this has a lot of intrigue. I love the promo last night. And again, if you haven't seen Monday Night Raw, you need to catch the promo. When Becky Lynch can reference the promo with Vince McMahon and Trish Stratus from years and years ago. No, and she's making like long-term connections of Trish Stratus's career to now. It was great. And I'm going to tell you right now, Trish Stratus has had just enough matches to kind of get the ring rust off. Becky Lynch has really hit her stride. We still have the wild card in Lita. I'm going to tell you right now, and this is going to be crazy to put it out there. This match to me has the potential, and there are several. This one has all the potential of being match of the night to me. Because both of these women we know can deliver, and giving them the opportunity, I think this match is going to be one of those that people are going to be talking about when they talk about wrestling after this weekend. Alpha?
I agree. The only glaring flaw that I have about this, it's not the build-up, it's not the people, it's not the question about whether they can go, it's not whether Trish or Becky are on the same level, whether it's, from an audience perspective. It's just the fact that why is a match as big as this? Because it is big. Because I don't care what anybody says. Trish Stratus is big, and so is Becky. Why is it having a Night of Champions? I know SummerSlam is coming up. I know that might seem a little too far away. But I guess it's just when I think of this as a marquee match, because you are right. This has the potential to be match of the night. And we will remember it as match of the night for Night of Champions, which is a good thing. But I think it almost shortchanges Becky and Trish, especially as far as this feud goes. Because I know it's not a lot, but they were tag title holders, correct? And they kind of
That's correct. That's correct.
So I don't know. I guess this feels big enough to where I'm like, maybe the Night of Champions stage isn't big enough for this match. That's not going to undersell it, obviously. But I guess if we look about this match as it goes into the future, I won't be able to scratch the idea that, man, could you imagine this match at the SummerSlam stage? It's not a deal breaker. I know that's really dumb, but those are just my 2 cents as far as this match is concerned. But it will deliver.
Well, I got to tell you right now, I have to disagree with you here, Alpha, and you and I don't disagree often. I think with all the things that have gone on, I think this is the great first match. I think that this has the potential of going for a significant amount of time. And I truly think that when it comes down to it, that it's going to be it has all the potential of being a great starting point for a monumental women's wrestling feud. We know Becky can deliver. We know Trish can deliver. I think this is a great opening point. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, it's time for the rant meter. Rant meter's coming back because of this right here. I don't know what the Snitch's problem is with me. I don't know what his deal is. And we might actually have to see if we can get him taken care of. But I'm going to tell you right now, Snitch, if you want to have all sorts of problems with me, you want to have all of this stuff going on, I'm going to tell you right now, and this is going to be my last statement on the Snitch tonight. and if I continue to hear it, I'm going to talk to the Night Owl because this got me fired up. I'm going to tell you right now, June 17th in Pacific, Missouri, when it comes down to it, Snitch, you are the Dynamo Pro champion. And I'll give you your props. You went out there, and at Cinco de Mayo, you were successful. But when it comes down to it, let's see how it is when you have the opportunity to be one-on-one in a ring. Let's see what happens. You're getting me fired up. You're getting me aggravated, Snitch. You're getting under my skin. And we got a lot of great viewers of the Wrestle Talk podcast that are here tonight. But now, because Chris Rodell's not here, you want to take a shot at me. As far as I'm concerned, let's see what happens in Farmington. But first, we're going to go back to where we're supposed to be, and I apologize to the viewers of the Wrestle Talk podcast if I got a little bit animated there, but I'm just fed up with what's going on here. But we're going to move on to another matchup of Night of Champions, and let's go ahead and switch it out here. And it wasn't a tournament final here. We're gonna have to fix that graphic. I mean, again, that's something that's there, and we're gonna
probably should have been, but that's up for another discussion.
Well, when it comes down to it, it's one of those where, again, Intercontinental Championship. It could have been a tournament final because they did have the Battle Royal that determined the number one contender.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther versus Mustafa Ali. Alpha, this is yours because I've got a very different opinion on this.
Okay. And I feel like I can guess what you're thinking. So I think it's better that I start because I'm just going to say that Gunther needs to break the record. It's as simple as that. There are so many people who defend Honky Tonk's record without actually acknowledging what made it work in the first place. And if we're going to book Gunther as the person, like the potential future monster that we know he can be, because now we have two titles again, two big titles that these guys can fight for, or even just the first major roadblock. He's got to get that IC record first. And I love Ali, but if this is the only way they know to keep him in the company, because I know his contract's expiring soon and he wants AWOL, I don't know if they should pull the trigger on that. I'm very sorry, but Gunther needs to stay IC champion. Luke?
We'll give you an idea here. First of all, he still has some pretty good names to get there. And again, bear with me here. I'm going to look back here at the data. The next champion that he will surpass, and he's still got to go about 40 days to get there, is the Magnificent Morocco. He held it for 385 days. Then you start getting into some rare category. Macho Man Randy Savage, 414. Pedro Morales, 425. And the Honky Tonk Man at 454. I'm going to tell you right now, to me, is Gunther the man that can get there? Yes, he has all the potential to get there and be, honestly, he's already in that class of, I mean, again, if you go back and look at that right now, Hall of Famer in Don Morocco, Hall of Famer in Randy Savage, Hall of Famer in Pedro Morales, and Hall of Famer in the Honky Tonk Man. So when you go out there and you look at it, is he the guy that can get there? Yes. But you know something right now? I'm going to tell you. And this goes back to my discussion last hour. If it could have happened, another way to put Mustafa Ali on that next level is make him be the one. Do I think it'll happen? No. Do I wish? Do I hope that he could be the one? Yeah. My heart tells me Mustafa Ali. My brain tells me Gunther. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know who it is that stops the runaway train that is Gunther. I don't. He is right now one of those that he could go on a huge tear. And now, again, I was told by management that I have to post it from what's here. First of all, he brings it up. We know the result, but they're, and you know something? I feel very fortunate because it's one of those situations where I look at what's here, and I'm just going to throw the last of the comments here. The snitches get more than me fired up, and I greatly appreciate that. So, again, going to leave it at that. But again, we know where this is going to go. But again, we can hope, we can dream. Now, let's switch this out and talk women's wrestling. And I think both of these matches that we're going to be talking about here deliver. Women's championship on the Raw side, Bianca Belair versus Asuka. I'm going to tell you right now, match of the night potential right here. And I'm going to tell you right now, even though she's the EST, she is the flag bearer for Monday Night Raw. I see Asuka walking out of Night of Champions as the women's champion. She's gotten into her head. And I'm going to tell you right now, when Asuka kicks it up to that next level, I don't think that there's anybody on the Raw women's roster that is ready for this new, I dare say, new version of Asuka. Alpha?
I can't help but feel like it would have been better if she won at Mania. And I know that's a really, cold take, because I feel like that's like the water of wet of the past Mania. But I guess it's only because anytime I think about matchups like this, I'm like, okay, well, there's not much narrative other than Asuka's probably going to win, but Bianca already beat her, so what's the point? She beats her and we get a new champion and all that, but I don't know, the narrative to me the whole time is that, yeah, Asuka looks tough, but the whole time we're just kind of meant to ignore the fact that she already got her ass kicked. And she did. Unfortunately, that's the jarring part about this for me.
Well, hold up, Alpha. Hold up. When you look at it, and you look at WrestleMania, Bianca Belair and Asuka, there wasn't any kicking going on. I think both women delivered at WrestleMania.
I know, but
no. There's not an I know here. This is one of those, to me, on a one-on-one level, it could have gone either way. We're not even going to fib about it. Both women are great in-ring competitors. But I think that those wild card tangents that Asuka brings to the table are the things that Bianca Belair cannot prepare for. I mean, prime example, they're celebrating her win in Tennessee and she blows the mist in her face. That shows that Asuka's willing to do whatever it takes to win that championship. And again, you're talking about this. I think we're going to see another WrestleMania quality matchup. But I think this time we see it on the other side. I mean, it's just that, to me, it's just that simple. So, and that individual who shall not be named, I'm not even going to continue his commentary on the chat because now he's calling me a grump. I'm not even going to go that far. So let's move on here to the other side of the women's division, that being the SmackDown Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Natalya. And I'm going to tell you right now here, Alpha, I'm going to give this to you because I think I'm going to be kind of a little along the lines of you in your last comment here with this matchup.
I'm glad we're getting Rhea some challengers to get under her belt because it's the best way to keep her in the minds of everybody. And Natalya is not bad just because, I don't know, she's got the veteran status. She has won the SmackDown Women's Championship, so she does have that credibility. But it is very predictable, if that makes sense. That's not faulting it, that it's predictable because it makes sense, and that's not bad in wrestling, and I wish people would stop acting like it is. But I do think this match is going to surprise people. I think Natalya can have an opportunity at a performance here because Rhea's bigger. I think maybe she could target the leg and we really push it, but then you also give Rhea that almost Batista-esque nature where like she's an animal because she's an absolute beast when it comes to powerlifting and stuff, and muscles through all the leg damage and manages to hit the oh my god, the riptide and get the 1, 2, 3 and then keep her going forward. This is a footnote, if anything. But Luke, who do you think will win?
A footnote? You're talking about a woman who is probably the longest running woman on the entire roster. A former Divas champion, a former SmackDown champion. She can go out there with anybody. A graduate of the Heart Dungeon. I mean, again, I get where you're going with this. But Natalya doesn't get her due. And again, I agree with you very much in the idea that this is going to put Rhea Ripley on another level. But when it comes down to it, give Natalya her credit. The woman can do anything in that ring and make it work. She can go out there and wrestle anybody and make it work. And I'm going to tell you right now, when they went out there and the first person that's setting all the trailblazing records always seems to be Natalya. Now, granted, she's not the first main event at WrestleMania. But the fact is, she is delivering. And I'm going to tell you right now, Rhea's not on her game. Natalya can win that championship. And I'll tell you right now, Natalya is one of those once-in-a-generation wrestlers that when her career is officially done, there needs to be 4 things behind it, and that is WWE Hall of Famer. Because she constantly delivers. And if Rhea Ripley's not ready, she's going to walk out minus a large amount of gold. So let's go ahead now that I've got the Alpha speechless and we've got that taken care of here. Let's go ahead and move on to tag team action. The Undisputed Tag Team Championship. Owens and Zayn versus Sikoa and Reigns. Alpha, I'm going to let you have this one because I think I got a pretty good one here on this matchup.
I haven't been keeping up. I've been getting a lot of my info secondhand.
Shame. Shame.
But
shame.
But I don't know how good of an idea it is if they actually think about putting the belts on Solo and Roman. It's not the way to go. I know narratively that Roman is the champ right now and Sikoa is ridiculous. But I do think the way that they get out of this is by having the Usos turn on Reigns and Sikoa. That's the only way I see this making sense to me, because a clean win kind of diminishes the value of both of these dudes, especially because it seems like the Usos were the fall guys for the longest time in the first place. But that's my call. I know that's not picking a winner or a loser. It's picking an interference, but that's what I got. But what do you think, Luke?
First of all, for admitting your fault. Oh, man. I got to tell you right now. I don't like this technology thing, but we're going to try it again. Because you didn't keep up on this tag team situation, man, I gotta talk to Rodell, man. He's got this audio all out of sorts. But that's okay, because you know what? We're going to try it a third time, and I'm going to keep going for a while. You talking about the tag team division?
Go!
Is that it?
There you go. That's what we got here for now. I'm going to tell you right now. Again, I've said this countless times on the program. Sami Zayn is money. Kevin Owens is money. And when you look at this right now, Alpha, and I'm just going to tell you flat out how it is. To me, this has all the potential to be a situation where You make Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens bigger. You make the Usos, who are already a great tag team, future Hall of Fame tag team, bigger. But you want to know something? You talk about it's going to hurt some people. No, it's not. And here's why. I see coming out of Night of Champions the crack between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa being monumental. Because here's how I look at it. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn are the tag team right now. The fans love them. They've had some very witty promos. They've really been a good group. Nobody wants to see Roman Reigns with another 25 pounds of hardware. And then you got Solo. You get Solo being left somehow or another high and dry. Whether it's the miscommunication of the Usos or Roman Reigns not saving him. Because then at that point, Solo Sikoa can be like, hey, if I'm a part of this bloodline, we're all supposed to be one for all and all for one. And now you're not going to have my back, but you expect me to have yours all the time? It's not going to happen. And I'm going to tell you right now, the bloodline, it's just a matter of time. And when they explode, it's going to change the landscape of the WWE. It's as simple as that. Speaking of changing the landscape of WWE, we also right now have things here, and we're going to look at something, and we're going to go back to the comments here in just a little bit. And again, thank you for all your commentary that we've had here this evening. But I want to throw one more matchup here. Maybe I can actually get this one correct. The match that everybody's talking about. Seth Rollins versus World Heavyweight Championship final. And I'm going to tell you right now, I want to see, and again, this is one of those ideas here. I want to see everybody who's viewing the program. I want to see everybody's comments here. I want to know what everybody's thinking about this matchup, because this match has all the potential to deliver a monumental match of the year candidate. To me, this is the matchup that's going to steal the show at Night of Champions. Alpha, your thoughts?
This is probably a dumb question, but have AJ Styles and Seth Rollins fought in any capacity, like prior to WWE or even under the umbrella? I'm pretty sure.
One time, and I believe it was an IWA Mid-South. They were actually showing on, I think it was on Raw last night. They were showing the footage of AJ Styles wrestling a 19-year-old Seth Rollins. And back then saying that he was going to be the future of the industry. And I'm going to tell you right now, this match right here, I mean, again, in theory, this is one of those where this matchup is going to be awesome. Alpha?
I agree. As far as a winner goes, though, I mean, this is like as photo finish as you can get for it, because either answer makes sense. I mean, both former WWE champions, United States, Intercontinental, tag team, they've done it all. I mean, I know, but Seth is younger, but I don't know if that means as much in the grand scheme of things, because AJ has that veteran knowledge. So I don't, and I guess my heart says AJ, but my brain says Seth, because they both have points for that. I mean, they're both on SmackDown, correct?
No,
they're both on Raw. Excuse me.
No, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that AJ is on SmackDown with the OC, And like I say, let's do a little bit of research here real quick for the viewers. I believe the OC is on SmackDown and Rollins is on Raw. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to turn things back over to you here because I know you got more on your mind about this, Alpha. I know you do.
Well, you can tell. My only biggest thing going with this match, and it is nothing against the match itself. This is more on WWE's creative part. Is that this belt really does just feel like supplementary. Like I mean, I know that it's supposed to be that WWE introduces titles all the time, like that we're not anywhere near like the Universal title being prestigious in terms of historical value, but it really does feel like WWE's like, hey, we got a lot of main roster guys who can't do anything, but Roman has both belts. So what do we do? Here's the consolation prize. It's what we got. And then now we have to tell people to watch out for Vince booking Roman to challenge for that belt, because then we're going to end up in the same position we were to begin with, which I know that won't happen. But the fact that people have to joke about that says there's a problem.
Well, Alpha, I'm going to tell you right now, this matchup here on paper is a matchup that I truly see Seth Rollins walking back to Monday Night Raw with the championship. It's a given. But by the same token, as strange as it sounds, I could see AJ Styles winning the championship. And the reason why is because then the question, does AJ Styles move to Raw? Does all of the OC move to Raw? Because remember, they were drafted as a unit of 4. So does that mean that we get a large quantity of change? And then you get kind of one of these after the fact trades? And then if that was the case, and I'm just going to put it this way. And again, Alpha, this is going to put you on the spot. If AJ Styles wins, and if he in turn brings all of the OC back to Raw, you have 3 men's wrestlers and a women's wrestler that need to go to SmackDown. Who do you see going?
Oh gosh, out of the available roster right now?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I don't actually know who's on what show right now. I know who the free agents are. SmackDown. I mean, oh my gosh, I can't even think of a name right now.
Well, you know
Who
something,
do we have?
Alpha?
Okay,
Alpha?
here we go. I found a list of people.
You found a
Oh,
list
boy.
of people? Well, you know what? It
Yeah.
took you long enough, so you get one of these.
I'm so sorry. I'm very underprepared. Oh Lord. There's like so many people. I don't even know. Okay, I gotta throw this to you, Luke, because I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm flatlining. I'm sinking.
Well, you know, sitting here looking at it, here's a couple I think that could go. And I'm going to be sad, but I think for starters, if you send a tag team, send the Alpha Academy. You know they can deliver. Put the Alpha Academy on SmackDown. As far as women's wrestlers to replace Mia Yim, I think right now, that'd be kind of a challenge. You want to give him a blockbuster? Give him Nikki Cross. And replace AJ Styles? 2 words. Braun Breaker. Your thoughts, Alpha? Or am I going to have to hit the sounder again?
Honestly, I can't. Oh, wait. I think I know at least one team that I think would be at least just as a decent replacement to try something. Move the Viking Raiders. I want to see them. Are they on Raw? I can't tell. Or
No.
no? Oh boy.
You may have stumped Luke here. You may have stumped me. That's not a good thing.
Oh no.
Let's go ahead and look back here at SmackDown. I believe that they are Raw personalities, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go ahead here and look real quick at the roster and see what's going on here with Raw. And I believe that you get. Hold on, it might be a SmackDown thing here. Hold on. You want to move the Viking Raiders off of Raw. Let's see here. If we go to that, and again, I want to thank the great folks over at WWE.com for actually updating their website so we can see exactly what's going on with the draft.
Helps the Alpha get list out.
That is true. Right now, as it stands, I do believe that right now, according to the WWE, they are presently on. Bear with me just a second here. They are currently, and again, that's the deal with having a huge roster the way they do. I believe that they are on. Hold on one second. And of course, this isn't going to work because of the idea of where I believe this was last week's results and not this week. So if you know who's where the Viking Raiders are on the brands, that would be where we need to be. I believe that. All right. And real quick here, going to give a shout out to our good friend Aaron Wallace.
Aaron Wallace picking fights in the comments.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, that's what makes Wrestle Talk Podcast such a great thing. Now, the point is, though, when it comes down to it, that matchup has so many different wild cards. I mean,
it has a lot of implications going forward.
There's a lot of implications, but you know what? One implication is it's going to be a phenomenal, no pun intended, matchup. You've got two guys who are going to bring a huge, huge amount of ability in the ring. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think looking at it, and looking at all the matches, this has a potential of delivering where I think Backlash didn't. So we do something, Alpha. We've got a few more minutes here before we sign off for this week. You know what I want to do?
What do you want to do?
Well, since you weren't prepared with the roster list, we gave you that memo. But then again, it's okay because my memo list was the one before the draft. So we're both in fault here. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put some wrestling trivia to you.
All righty.
And what we're going to do here is we're going to have a challenge, a Wrestle Talk Podcast game show challenge between the Alpha and himself. And you know what we're going to do here? I'm going to go ahead and hit the music for the game show challenge. And we're going to change it up here a little bit because when it comes down to it, we're going to see if the Alpha, the man who was known for winning the Falls Count Everywhere Championship for Team Wrestle Talk Podcast, is ready for the solo version of the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's installment of the world-famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contestant is the one and only, the Alpha. Now, Alpha, normally this would be a best 2 out of 3 falls, but since you're competing against yourself this week, what it's going to be is going to be a best of 7 challenge.
All righty.
And I think we got to kind of put a deal up here. Something to be an incentive. Something
that I try.
Let's see here. What kind of an incentive can we have?
What are you scheming, Skywalker?
I know what it is. Tell you what we do. I will tell you right now. You are a trivia expert. And as you're well aware, if you made it a point to catch the Falls Count Everywhere podcast, when we as a team were victorious over Rough Cut Rick Ruby, or I shouldn't say Rick Ruby because he was the MC, but Mr. GQ and his co-host. We're going to have you put your money where your mouth is. We're going to do a best of 7, much like a lot of the great series in professional wrestling history. But if you don't win, if you can't succeed, you're off the team.
No, coach, please. All right, you're on.
Okay.
But that just means I prove myself to be on the team if I win this.
That's true. That is true. Now, tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge category is Professional Wrestling May Birthdays. You have to be able to identify, and it's going to be a best of 7. You're going to have to identify at least 4 of these 7 individuals. Do you think you can do it?
It's worth a shot.
All righty. Well, here we go. Question number 1. This individual, known for being very outspoken.
CM Punk.
You are incorrect.
Dang it.
You jumped into the question way early. Is known for being an accomplished manager and the only manager of Hulk Hogan in WCW.
Jimmy Hart.
That's correct, but you messed up.
I did.
You answered early.
I
So the fact is,
just jumped the gun.
you jumped the gun considerably here in what was there. And actually, you know what? By a technicality, we get to throw that out because he was a January 1st, not a May 1st, as the list said. So you get a break there, Alpha. You got extremely lucky in that question. So
listen to the
now,
rest this time before answering.
that's what's there. So now you got to listen to the question, follow directions, and hopefully you can be able to get the questions correct. Now at this point, the real first question. This individual is known for being in AEW. He also celebrates a birthday in the month of May.
Orange Cassidy.
That is correct. I was wondering if you would catch the hint.
It took me a second because I'm like, is that it? And I realized you were giving me this.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to question number 2. This individual was born in the month of May. He has competed all around the world, being recognized in every promotion he competed in and a promotion that he never competed in. Name him.
I should know this, but I don't. Abdullah the Butcher.
The answer is Owen Hart.
Kill me.
Up in AEW. Question number 3. This one's going to be a little bit different. One of the individuals that you are a fan of is a part of Damage Control. This individual is the only one that does not have a birthday in the month of May.
Is it Io Sky?
Bailey. So we're 3 questions in, and you're 1 for 3. This is not looking good for you, Alpha. It really is.
I like a comeback story. Don't count me out just yet.
Well, we'll go ahead, assuming, of course, you are ready, and we will move on to question number 4. This individual is looking forward to his matchup at Night of Champions. It very well may be the perfect celebration of his birthday, which is on May 25th, by carrying 4 championship belts. Name him.
I can narrow it down. I just don't know who.
The keyword there is 4 championship belts. And his birthday is this week, this Thursday.
Is it Roman?
Roman Reigns is correct.
Oh, thank God. Did you throw me a bone on that?
No, I just legitimately put it there. Okay. Question number 5. This individual celebrates a birthday in May. He has been seen on AEW television. He has also been an executive, either real or fictional, in both WCW, the WWF, WWE, and the NWO. Name him. A reminder, he's been on AEW. He was an executive in WCW. He was an on-camera executive in the WWE. And he was an executive in the NWO.
Oh my gosh, I want to say Eric Bischoff, but I know I'm wrong.
Don't sell yourself short. You are correct, Eric Bischoff.
I don't know why I almost said Shivani. I know that was 100% wrong.
I don't know how that one would have gone. So,
That's
all right.
why I needed that to be right. I'm like, please, Eric Bischoff, please. I've never asked you for anything.
All right. Question number 6. This individual competed in both WCW and the WWF. He is also known for having a May birthday and having current family competing in AEW. Name him.
Brian Pillman.
That is correct.
Yes.
Now then, you've
you,
answered
Brian.
4 out of 6. But I want to see how good you really are. And I'm going to throw one more opportunity out here. And if you get this one right, and I'll tell you right now, if you can get this one right, I will sweeten the offer and I will officially step out of the running for the final matchup with the Falls Count Everywhere podcast.
But I need your help more than anything. I guess it makes sense. It's got to be one or the other. You're on, Luke.
Are you afraid?
No, I can't be.
Sounds like you're afraid.
I'm nervous. I'm not afraid. Huge difference.
What do you think? You up to it?
I'm up for it.
All right. Here's the question. This WWE competitor would be able to celebrate their birthday on Saturday by winning championship gold. Name them.
There's so many choices for that, though. Natalia?
I'm going to tell you right now.
I think I'm incorrect.
Nope. I'm going to tell you right now here that when it comes down to it, we can put out here. Hold on 1 second. I want to make you wait a little more.
The suspense is killing me, man. My heart can't take it.
How confident are you in your win?
Not at all.
Not at all? Well, I'm going to tell you right now.
That is the best victory fanfare. It made me work for it, Luke. But it made the victory that much sweeter.
And a deal is a deal. I will not be competing as a part of the final challenge between us and the Falls Count Everywhere podcast.
It means I got to work even harder to win the next one.
That
It's
is
for both
true.
of
That
us.
is true. Well, I got to tell you right now, Alpha, we've had a lot of great discussion tonight.
It's been
Also
fun.
had a lot of great comments from our fans here on the program. Again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're not done yet by any stretch. We've still got a few more minutes to go right now, just to let you know as well. NXT, for those that like watching NXT, is having a matchup between Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez. These two are definitely going to be a great matchup here to see who goes against, I believe it's Lara Valkyrie for the NXT Women's Championship. But right now, we're going to go ahead here real quick. And again, we're going to kind of keep things going here on the program. We want to go ahead and give a shout out to all of our great sponsors. So give me just a second here as we go. We're going to go ahead here. And of course, now my technology is finally not going to cooperate. But let's go ahead and I'm going to throw this up here. And once again, just to make sure that the Alpha feels that much more important. Hold on 1 second here. Again, my technology is not cooperating, but hold on 1 second here. We're going to try to see if we can get this to work. And no, we don't want the Alpha to have another sounder. Don't want that to happen. But now, to go ahead and help the Alpha out.
And now, here's a word from our sponsor.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn things back over to the Alpha to talk about all of our great sponsors who help bring this program to you each and every week.
Wrestle Talk Podcast would like to thank all of our great sponsors, including Royal Mills Transportation, headed by Mr. Dewan Mills. That's right, Dewan Mills. Rathbun Engraving. That's where you can get your Wrestle Talk Podcast mugs for just $20. Nobleman's Barber Lounge in Kansas City, Missouri. Kincaid Arcade at Oak Park Mall. Interstate 70 Sports Media. Little Popeye Design. That's where you can get your Wrestle Talk Podcast tumblers. And of course, finally, last but not least, the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy worldwide wrestling group.
And I got to tell you,
thank you for the opportunity, Luke. I love saying it. I got to say it for the whole show. I feel like a true professional now.
I got to tell you right now, as we can see here, as we're looking at our comments, talking about tag team wrestling, and that was actually not the one I was going to bring up here, but a matter of the idea here. We're sitting here right now. The Snitch is not a fan of a lot of people here on the program, but we survived. I mean, again, we're going to give a shout out to all of our great members of the Wrestle Talk Podcast family. I mean, the Night Owl, Nightmare Jones, Big Sexy Chris Rodell, the Maestro Jeremy Karp, Big Hoss, Sonny Money, who's out traveling the world. A lot of great things that take place each and every week. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, make it a point to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. You can make it a point to take care of those things here. Real quick here before we wrap things up this evening, Alpha, I want to get your final thoughts on the professional wrestling scene as a whole. I know a lot of things are going on. A lot of people said WrestleMania was going to be the restart, the reboot. And I do believe, too, we're also going to have, and we totally left it out as well, AEW's Double or Nothing. It's going to be taking place here real soon. I want to go ahead and throw it to you. let's give you a quick couple minutes to talk about the state of professional wrestling as it is right now.
I definitely think we're kind of finding our legs, if that makes sense, because we've had a lot of news following WrestleMania and even before or during WrestleMania, and now we're sort of seeing the effects of that. And I don't think wrestling's going anywhere. That's the important part that I guess I can reassure people of, is that wrestling isn't going anywhere. But I think we're going to start seeing some stuff in motion that's going to get everything rolling towards the really big events coming up, because it seems like everybody's done with their big pay-per-views, but they're setting up the next big pay-per-views. Your SummerSlams, your Wrestling Dontaku, I think. I can't remember. I have to check the rest, the rest of them. Your Impact pay-per-views, I'm not familiar with them, I'm sorry. And same with your Ring of Honors. But I do think we're rolling towards that, especially with All In coming up. It definitely seems like AEW is putting all their eggs into one basket. And considering that they might be teasing the idea of Forbidden Door 2 with this trios match, I think between the Blackpool Combat Club and Okada Ishii and Tanahashi, it's playing for the future, to answer your question, I guess.
Well, and talking about it too, I do want to. I would be remiss here if we didn't talk about Double or Nothing very quickly. We have just a couple minutes here. We have, again, just reading down the list here. Actually, I'm not going to go that far. We know the main event, MJF defending against Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, and Darby Allin is going to be a major event here on that program. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give you a second, Alpha, to run over the matches here for Double or Nothing, which is going to be taking place this Sunday. I'm going to tell you right now, a match on the pay-per-view that I'm really looking forward to, and a lot of people are going to be surprised. I think the match is going to deliver there that I'm really interested in is Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. I think those two men are going to deliver, and they're going to deliver a great match, showing why, as many people say, Chris Jericho is the greatest of all time in the eyes of some. I think Adam Cole has all the potential to deliver. Again, I think that AEW's Double or Nothing is going to deliver. Is there anything that you're looking at here in that event that might be your can't-miss match?
Well, we already mentioned the Anarchy in the Arena. I think I definitely think that's the ace, not necessarily up their sleeve, but more so like out in the open. We all know that's going to be something to watch. But for sure, the match that I'm looking forward to is going to be the 21-man Battle Royale. And I think it's just because Cassidy has done a fantastic job of being consistent with his championship, showing up, and just to see where this goes. You could either have it that Cassidy goes the distance, or because of the Battle Royale scenario, you can run the story of him losing the championship, but not losing it in the traditional sense to, push for a future storyline, because as much as we like him as a champion, we do need a little bit of adversity to try and push forward. We all like Cassidy, but we also like Cassidy when he has adversity. But I think that's going to be the match. And it's Cassidy. You give him 21 guys and a Battle Royal scenario, he's going to have you laughing. He's going to have you laughing your ass off. He's going to have everybody in the audience like this.
Okay, now, real quick here before we let everybody go for this week, I want to go ahead and take care of a few little additional pieces of business. Again, if you want to enjoy the Wrestle Talk podcast, you can see it right here on the website. You can also see it as well when you check us out on social media. But again, as a reminder, #WrestleTalkPodcast.com. Make sure to check us out. A lot of great information there. Also, as a reminder, whenever you make comments online, make it a point to #WTP, Let's Talk Wrestling, so we can get engaged. We're going to have a lot of great stuff to talk about next week when it comes to high spots. We've got Double or Nothing. We've got Night of Champions. We're going to have SmackDown and Raw. Again, I want to go ahead real quick and give a shout out. If you ever have any kind of problems, you think that the world is posing you some challenges that you may not be able to handle, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is available 24/7, 365. All you got to do is call 988. Make it a point to reach out to them, because as our good friend the Maestro says, you can always reach out to a friend. There's always somebody you can reach out to make sure that you know without a shadow of a doubt that there are people that do care about you on this world, want to make sure that you're available to be here and be able to live the best life possible. Well, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, next week, tune in 7 o'clock. right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Also check out the FWWC tonight. You can check them out on Thursdays. I believe it's at 7:30. For more information on the Wrestle Talk podcast, check us out online. You can also get information on the FWWC as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap us up for this week. Again, for myself and the Alpha, this has been Luke Roberts with the Wrestle Talk podcast. We look forward to checking out next Tuesday night right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Take care, and we will see you right here next week.